And welcome back to another Tweaker Man video. So this is going to be another isolation build, but not as you think it's going to be. So this is I'm going to be making a dock for a mobile phone, and it's going to have a USB-C connector built into it, and it's going to be made the same way as I make my silent bases, but this time instead of using the 3mm ply, I'm using 5mm ply, okay, to give it some more rigidity. And if you haven't seen my videos before on the way I make these, basically this is IKEA packaging. It's a honeycomb paper. Now, you don't have to get this from IKEA if you haven't got any furniture from there. I happen to have loads of people that give me stuff from IKEA, the packaging. Anybody that knows me, they say, oh, do you want the packaging if they buy something? You can buy this online in big sheets if you need to. And you glue the ply each side of it, and then it turns out like this. Now what I tend to do is I just tend to put loads of tins of baked beans and all sorts over it once I'm gluing it up, just to keep it flat. And you must do it on an extremely flat surface, like a kitchen table or a piece of wood that's a piece of MDF that's really flat. And then leave it for a, I usually leave it for a day, even though I tend to use this glue, this Woodcare 5 minute super fast PVA. This is really good stuff, and I use that for a lot of the restoration work I do as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this up into pieces, and then I'll show you once I've done that what it looks like and how it's going to be. So I've now cut the pieces of wood to the size I want, and I've put an angle on there already. So I want the phone to lay back slightly in the dock, and then we're going to be bracing the edges of this now with these pieces of birch, which I use old blinds, these wooden blinds, louver blinds are they? I can't remember what you call them now, but loads of people give me bits and pieces and I keep everything. It all comes in handy. So I'm going to show you how to brace around these now. So what we do is we just get our glue, and the good thing about this stuff dries, it says it's 5 minutes, it's never 5 minutes. I leave it for an hour or so. That's if it's coming out today. Looks like it's blocked, so all unblocked. So we just put some glue onto here, spread it out with your finger, and then what we do just fit it in place, and we're going to sand it off after again on the linisher to get everything nice, and so it just looks like that. Okay, and then if you've got clamps, that's fine, but the most easiest way to do it is just to put some tape around it. Just like that, pull it down tight. And then that will keep it nice and clamped down while it's drying. So we'll do the same this side. This braces the side of the ply and stops and just strengthens it. It's very thin. I only use thin wood to do this. Right, the same again. And now what I need to do after is to leave that to dry for an hour or so, and then I'll be back to put the front piece on there. So we'll be sanding these bits back on the linisher, okay, and then we'll put the face on, and in the meanwhile I'll do the rest of this one. So here we have the two lots of sides glued on. So when they're both dried, we've just got to cap the ends. Okay, so as I say, I'll leave these for an hour or so, maybe a couple of hours, and then we'll crack on. So I've had these drying now for a while, so we'll just remove the tape. It's a very good way of just gluing stuff on using tape. So that's in there nice and strong. So is this one. And what I'll do is I'll show you how to sand this up. I do enjoy making these isolation projects. So what we'll do, we'll sand one up, and then I'll sand the other one up myself. So I have this linisher here, and this is the disc part of it, and I use this for sanding up mainly. So we're going to sand all these bits back, so we can put this on here like so. Okay, and now we're going to sand up the side bits there. Nice. There we have it, all nice and sanded up. So we've sanded all the edges up on there now. So all we need to do now is just put the end cap on here. So there's several things you can do with this afterwards. You can either veneer it, or you can spray it. If you spray it, you'll have to do a little bit of filling work in areas, tiny little bits, only like hairline fractures. You sometimes get like a bit of split out there on the plywood down there, but as I'm going to veneer it, I've got lots of veneer. There we go. We're going to push that in place again, and then we're just going to get our tape again and bring our tape up. Tape it across there like that. Bring it down. Put it really tight. Stick it down both sides. There we go. One more. Okay, now. Right, so I'm going to leave them aside now to dry, and I'll be back shortly. So I've now left these front pieces to dry. What I'm going to do is just remove the paper, the masking tape. And then we're going to just start sanding these off as well. So we'll go on the side here first. There we go. There we go, that's all ready. All it's got to be done now is to glue it. So I've made a jig up to glue this, and it's pretty easy. It's just some scrap wood, and you just push that into there like so, and then push that into there and get it in, and then we can glue it this way. It's really good way of doing this. So I've put some masking tape down as well, so we don't want any glue to be going onto the onto the other part of the wood and then it getting stuck, which is easily done. To think about all these things as you go along. Right, so we've put some glue on here. Make sure it's all over. You don't want anything not sticking. Push it in there and then take it up. There we go. We'll get it in there nice and tight there. Just move away any excess glue with some cloth. So I'm going to veneer this afterwards, so I don't really need I'm not too bothered about the glue, because it will come off as soon as I start to well, let's just move that there a bit. I've noticed there's a bit of glue just gone under there. We don't want that, because then that's going to stick to it when it comes to it. No, so we'll just put it back down again. Make sure there's no glue anywhere along this edge here. Okay, so we'll push that back in there. That'll go straight back up there, nice and tight. And now on the top part here, I'm just going to wrap a bit of tape around that. I'll just hold it in place. At the back here, just push that down nice and tight, and then press that in really hard and bring that over like that. That's just going to get the glue oozing out again there, and it will keep it nice and tight. Now we can push the bottom in even more and do the same down there. Just put another piece of tape around it. There we go. And why that is set in there, I'm going to make some bits that go over here just to give it strength. Okay, so we just check the back there. That looks really good. There we go. That's all the back done. So this looks like a bit of a chair, and we're going to just add some arms that come just across here just to give it some stability. So while this is drying, I've made up 2 brackets here out of wood, and I'm going to glue them onto there like that. Okay, and then afterwards I will veneer the whole thing. It's and then I'm going to finish it in a nice red colour again that matches my turntable and the other bits in there. So what I'll do is I'll crack on and glue this on here now. So all we need to do here is we want to get a pencil, mark it underneath because we don't want too much glue oozing out everywhere. Mark it under there like that. So there we go. And now we're going to just put some glue on here. Just enough to when you're spreading glue, always spread it over the whole entire thing. Don't put a bead on and then press it down, because there's bits that don't get glued when you do that. And what we need to do here is to make sure every piece of it has got glue on it, just like that. It's pretty easy. Right, now we're going to just push that into place there. And then we're just going to put a piece of tape over it again, just to hold it in place while it dries. That's it, nice there. Move it a bit to make sure you get it in the right place. And we'll just put another piece down here. We can sand it in afterwards because we want to make sure everything goes in extremely well. I'll just push that down like that. Make sure you push the masking tape down really well so it sticks to the actual wood, and that is going to glue absolutely wonderful. So we'll leave that to dry, and then once this all is dried, I can flip it out and then we can put the other brace on the other side. So I've now left this to dry. Let's just see where we can pull it out. All right, there we go. That's all nice, and this piece here should be able to come off now, this side piece. There we go. I'm going to pull those bits off here. Right, so now all I've got to do now is I want to glue this piece onto here now. Okay, so I shall do the same as that side. And it looks like a bit like a deck chair or a chair, but this is the concept. And what we're going to be doing is we've got to drill a series of holes there to get a USB-C connector through there. And what we're going to be, yeah, we'll do that first, and then, but if you're making one for an iPhone, okay, you're going to need a lightning cable fitted through there. Whether many people copy some of these videos I do not know. I know some of them you build cables, but whether you build any of this isolation stuff is I'm not sure, but let me know if you do, because it's always interesting. I know, actually, I have seen some of you build. Yeah, no, I'm wrong there. I have seen some of you build some isolation. There we go. Right, so I've just drawn that around there again because I want to just put a piece of glue around here. I'm going to put that on there. Right. Let's get that on there again. We'll use some tape to keep it in place. We'll bring that back, and then we're going to do some final sanding afterwards before we do any veneering on it. Down like that. Now I've got it like that, I'm going to put a clamp across that now. Just to clamp that in place. There we go, that's one there. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to dry now and I'll be back shortly. There we go, I've put some clamps across it just to make sure it's all nice and strong. So soon we're going to have to turn our attention to the isolation feet on the bottom of this. Now, this is the base of this piece. So it's going to fit on there like so, and it'll stick out the back. And this is extra damping. So this is an even thicker silent bass. So we don't want anything coming up, resonance, into the phone to interfere with any of the electronics in there. So now all I've got to do now is I've got to brace this all round again now with our wood, and it'll all be, so we're just going to do the same process again. I'll show you one piece and then I shall crack on with it. Got plenty of glue on here, give it a good old, it's always best to cover everything in glue when you're gluing up. Never leave any bits with no glue on them, because what tends to happen then is it may come weak at one stage at one time over a period of years, which you don't want. Right, okay, so that's that one there. And this is the next piece here now. Again, I have to do this in 2 stages because I have to leave the sides to glue up. Then I like to sand them back on the linisher to get them really perfect. I don't want any gaps anywhere, because gaps over a period of time will open up as well. Central heating dries out glue, unfortunately. Right, so we pop that onto there as well. Bring that up there. And again, what we'll do, we'll just use our tape. Okay, this is the best way to just hold things down like this. Pull it tight. Okay, bring it over like that. Bring it tight down. Break that off. Do the same at each end. So what I'll do now is I'll set that aside to dry again, and I'll be back shortly to fit the end caps on. So I've left this to dry again now. Let's just remove this tape again, and then we'll just sand this back onto the I mean, you can make all manner of things out of this stuff, and it never stops delivering for me. Everything I make out of this tends to work quite well. Right. Right, let's go and sand this off now. gets it sanded up. So just going to get a bit of our 240, give it a bit of a rub over, just to take off any bits of rubbish that's on there. And then we want to now just glue our next couple of bits on. Now, when you saw me make the silent bass for the Blu-ray player, the Sony Blu-ray player, I feel that the inside bits here, I just pushed it back and I had a band of silicone running round. Now, the reason I did that is because the transport on the Blu-ray player makes a noise. But anything that doesn't make a noise, like an amplifier as such, like, I mean, a woo and flutter noise, doesn't need it. So, because this is housing a phone, it doesn't need it. So, that's that there. Let's just get the glue. So, same process again. Very easy. I mean, once you've made one of these things, you probably don't need to watch my videos anymore. You could start producing stuff yourself. Everybody, I'd always like to see other people's stuff as well, because it helps just to see different people's ideas. Nice to have different ideas all the time. Glue on there now. Right, I'm going to just pop that on there like that. And why I use this glue is it sets quite fast, but it's also water resistant as well. And it's very strong once it bonds. Okay. Make sure that's around the same way as that one. Right, I need to wipe my finger on something for a minute. What's that bit of old rubbish there? Right, so again, we're just going to do exactly the same thing. And there is, to be fair, there is a fair amount of work that goes into building something like this. It's, as my main job is restoration, I'm a cabinet maker, upholsterer, and I do polishing, restoration. I've been doing it since 1987, so it's a long time I've been involved in producing or making stuff. There we go, pull that down like that. I want to pull it nice and tight. If you've got some sash clamps, you could clamp this up, but I use this just because most people probably don't have any. And this is a way. And we'll just push all those down like that. It just helps to push it in a bit. There we go. So now we're going to have to leave this again now for a couple of hours, and I'll be back once that's dried. So I've got loads of this peel and stick veneer left. All offcuts of jobs that I've done. So I'm going to use that to veneer the body of this. So what I want to do first is I just want to seal it, really. You could use some PVA to seal it up if you want to, or you could use anything, a bit of varnish. It just, because the wood's very dry, this adhesive on the back, it tends to, you'll get bubbles appearing if you try to put it on a piece of bare wood with nothing on it. Your best thing would be to use PVA glue, really. So you could use the stuff that I've been gluing up with. That works really well. But with this, and you don't have to veneer this, of course. You can paint this. I think the veneer will make it look very classy. And if you've got this on your side in your living room or something, a nice veneer will look very nice on it. Make sure you get lots of varnish or polish. So this is heat resistant special powder polish, which I use in my business. So I have lots and lots of this. I go through around 10 to 15 litres a month. So we've got that there like that. Go down the side here. Now this side piece here, I won't be veneering that. I'm going to leave that like that, and then I'll veneer around to here, because I can colour that in quite easy once I do the polishing on it. Right, okay. Just give that a minute or so to set in. A bit more on there. You could do anything with this. You could give it a rustic look. You know, if you want to make it look old, that could be quite an attractive way of doing it. So just going to seal the back up of it now. That's it. Make sure you've got it all over nicely. Right, that'll do. So I'm going to leave that now for about half an hour, just to dry in really well. I mean, it dries instantly, but we'll give it half an hour, and then we can start putting our veneer on. So we need to get a straight edge on this veneer first. Now I'm using the same piece, so it goes down the centre. So we want to just get our knife. Make sure you use a sharp blade. There we go. Now we need to measure this here. See what we can do with it. So in inches, it's 4 1/8. In centimetres or in millimetres, it's 10. 10.4, and in inches it's 4 1/4, 4 1/8, sorry. So I'll do it in inches. It'd probably be easier because it's more closer to the size. And make sure that's dead on there. That goes right down to there. About right. Right, so that should slip in there. Perfect. Right, okay, so what I want to do now is I want to just get the centre. So if we measured down from here, so we're going to say about 90 mil, because this is on the looks like it's on the slide a bit. 90. If I go a bit more than that, I'm going to say 95 just to be on the safe side, so it gives me a bit of, let's see what that measures in there. 170. Oh yeah, there's plenty there. Right, okay, now we want to take our set square, because we've got a nice square edge there now. Put it on there like that. Now we want to just cut it again with the knife across. Now we're going to cross the grain this time, so there we go. And when you get to the end here, it's a good idea to come from the other way and cut it back that way again, otherwise it tends to, you'll probably find that the veneer may split out on the end there, but it hasn't this time. Right, so that's the, so this is going to go into there, like so, and that's going to go up to there. So let's just peel this off. Now what I've also done is I've got a, I've got the iron on there as well, because this veneer has been sitting around a while, and this backing, it may tend to get a bit dry after a while. It loses its stick a little bit. See if we can get that down into there properly like that. There we go. That's all in nicely. Now I'm just going to get the iron, which is sort of warmish. It's not too hot. Just going to iron that onto there as well. Now we've got to drill a hole through here for the cable to go through. Okay, so that is nice and hot down there. I'll just show you how to do the front part, and then after I shall crack on and get it all done. I can just come down here, push it down on the end there. Okay, that's your first piece on there, and then the second piece we'll do the same. You can just heat this up with a hairdryer as well if you want to, just to reenact the glue a bit more, to make it a bit more sticky. It is fairly sticky, but I want to push that down into there, get that looking pretty neat there. Pull that off. That's it. Right, now we want to just get a ruler there and just push that down into the corners there. Make sure that sticks really well. So you can see the veneer going straight away up now. Perfect. This needs to look very classy. Right, okay. Let's give this a bit of a heat up again now. It's very hot now, so just use that again. Just bring it up. Right, come over to the back here now. Just chop that off again. So I say just cut through that part at the end there. There we go, look at that, looks really good. So I shall crack on and start doing the rest of it, and then I'll be back shortly. So I've now finished the veneering. All looks very nice once it's all polished. And now I've got to turn my attention to finish sanding this pieces, the two pieces I've fitted on the end. So I'll crack on and do those, and I'll show you once I've done them. Now I've left, I've sanded all that up and coated it in the polish again. And now what we want to do is we want to fit our veneer onto here as well. Like that. Cut a little bit off of that. Right, okay, so let's remove those bits. So we now want to just peel this off here. Actually get that off. Peel the backing off there. There we go. I'll just give that a blast with the iron as well. A really good, nice press down. Right, so now all I've got to do now is just to trim those off again. So this peel and stick veneer is very easy to use, but how long it lasts, I do not know. Before the glue tends to become, it may bubble over a few years. I don't think it does. I always find gluing veneer down best using PVA really, or animal glue, the one you heat up in the kettle, which I have a load of somewhere in here, which I'll keep for when people specifically say they want it glued up with Scotch glue. That's what I call it. Right, okay, just trim that off again. Take that off of there. Put that down. So there we go. Another nice block. That'll be the top at the back, where this sits onto here like so, and then that is the way the back goes, just to keep, holds it up, stops it from pulling over, because it gets heavy with the phone in there. So I'm going to crack on now, carry on with this, and I'll show you once I've finished it. So that is the main part of the major silent base for it. So this is now going to be glued onto here, like so, just a little bit back. I'm going to leave that a bit forward, and we're going to glue that together with PVA, and then we're just going to be putting some felt pads on the underneath of it. So this has got to now be polished, but I've got a cable turning up that's going to stick up through here. So I need to drill a hole in that, but I'm going to wait till the cable turns up first. So this video has been going on for a few days. That's why I haven't uploaded a lot this week, because this has taken up quite a lot of time. leaving things to dry and everything. So, but it will look really stunning once it's polished as well. I'll have it on this side in the AV room, and it will go straight into my DAC. So I've drilled a hole. Can you see it? Straight away through there. Okay. And what's going to happen is this cable is going to be going up inside there like that. But what we need to do to start with is we need to cut a slot down in here. Okay, so we're going to push that up there like that, and then we need to cut a slot for this piece of cable to go into like that. Now this cable is going to have to stick up a bit like that. It's going to be sticking up, and I'm going to glue it into place. Okay, so then the phone's just going to sit on there. Right, so what we need to do now then is I just want to measure this out so I'll get it exactly right. You don't want it to go to I've got loads of rubbish on this bench now. Right, so that is 4 1/4. Where's that one? Yeah, 4 1/4. So that's exactly in the right place. So what I'm going to do now is just to take my square here, join that up like that. There you go. And now what I want to do is just take my knife and score down here. This is going to be hidden. I'll be careful with this not to slip too much. Come that way a bit more. Right, now what I'm going to do is just to get my chisel now. Right, so all I've got to do now is to get a piece of this stuff, which is off of the sander. Just going to take it into just give it a bit of a sand in there. because that wants to go deeper, so then the cable can sit in there. It's not far to go now, a bit more. Might actually chisel a little bit more out first. Cut a bit out with a blade there. That's getting there slowly now. Now I can just chisel a little bit more out. Now we'll just start sanding that down now. Right, let's just see what that's like. Might just need a little bit more sanding on there. Just turn that round like that so I get a nice round on the sandpaper there. There we go, we've got a nice groove in there now. And this is going to then sit in there like so. And then it will be then clamped up onto this piece. So that's what we're going to do now. So what I need to do is just to release that from there a minute. Put this back on. So this has got the USB-B cable on that side, and this is the C cable for your phone. So let's just put that back on there for a minute like that. So what I want to do now is just to push this through here. So that sticks up like that. Okay, so that's going to sit up like that. And then we're going to glue this to the it still needs a very tiny bit off down the middle there, down at the front there. So let me just give another bit more going there. Right, okay, that should do it. Push that back through there, get that into there nice and tight. Okay, so now what I want to do now is to get some glue going on here. Okay, and that's gonna, so let's see what grain looks the best. That one there, or that one, I think that one probably does. So that can go underneath there. And we're going to just glue this to this now. So we want to get it into about the right place there. And I'll score a line down the back there. Just so I know how far that's going to go down. There we go, so we've got a line there. What we'll do, we just put the square across that now to make sure that it goes on. It's square anyway, but I'll just do a bit of line there. There we go. Now what we want to do is just to put some glue on here. So we can spread it out. Doesn't matter if any goes over the veneer on the sides, because we'll just wipe it with some wipes. We'll do the final sand up after, when it comes to doing the polishing, and we'll have to what we'll have to do is to mask up the cable so it doesn't get all messy. So that looks like that's decent there. So what we're going to have to do with this is to put a clamp on it. Just double check that line at the back, that's perfect. Right, it's moved a bit, that's it. Right, so if we just rest that down on here for the minute. Need that to go up there. Now when you do this, you don't want to tighten this up too much, because it's going to push down. I want to make sure we get that exactly right. Let's clean some of this glue off that's oozing out. Like that. Now I'm doing this by eye. It looks perfect actually. I'm usually quite good doing things by eye. Just get a bit of that along the front there, just to wipe all that excess glue off down there. I'll show you it in a minute once I've done it. And just to push that round there. That's better. Push that into there. So there we go. That's like that now. And what we need to do is really to clamp the back of it down a bit there. So I'll have to use a sash clamp for that, to do that, because it's not going to stay otherwise. So I've got a small slash clamp here. I don't want to do too much pressure on it, only gentle. Just so it's I need something to, I can just pull it up tight with my fingers there. What's that like? That's it, that's gone down lovely. Right, so I'm going to have to leave that now to dry. And just there's a bit of glue oozing out the sides still, so I want to try to get rid of those first before I settle it down. Front's alright. It's just up this back bit here now. There's a bit of glue oozing out the back there, under there. Just get this on its side a minute. Oh no, I'll use that to get down there with, to get the glue out. That's it, that's beautiful. Look at that. It's coming a bit loose again now, isn't it? Tighten it up a fraction of it. And my finger. Right, so we're just going to leave this to dry now. Okay, and then once it's dried, I'll be back and I'll show you it. Here we have the dock finished. just got to be polished now. Okay, see the cable coming out the back there. Lovely, lovely job. It'll have a final sanding. I shall mask up the plug so nothing gets into there. And then let's take a look at it with a phone in place. There we go, with a phone in place. Now, obviously, if you wanted to make this for an iPhone, okay, or yeah, it'd be an iPhone, you'd need a lightning cable. I think that's what they call theirs. We use, on Android, we use a USB-C cable, unless you've got a really old iPhone, Android phone that uses the other type, and now I can't remember the name of it. But there we go, all done, all nicely looking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to polish this coming up, then we'll get the whole job finished. So I've now finished the phone dock. So this is an audiophile phone dock, and it's made out of the honeycomb isolation that I use for the isolation tables that I make. And this has been polished and it's totally finished. And there we have our USB-C cable sticking up. And what it is I've left it like that, so if the phone changes, there's loads of scope there. And I've also made it wider in case the phone changes. Okay, it would fit loads of different phones. Now underneath there, the whole lot's all been all properly polished. Underneath there I've put some felt pads, and this is where the cable comes out. And this cable here has got a USB-B connector on it, so it goes straight into a DAC. You can put obviously different cables on this design if you need to. So all in all, a very nice build, and it's got a lovely luster on it again, one of my signature polished finishes to it. So I hope you like this build. It's taken me about a week to do it, so I've had to glue bits up. It's quite time consuming. Okay, so it's not easy to make, but you can see it, how much work's gone into it, and I think it looks really good. This is what it looks like with a phone connected to it, and it just sits there. It's lovely and smooth. And yes, so as I say, I hope you liked the video. I think that's it really. So thanks for watching another Tweaker Man video. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give this video a like. Don't forget to press that notification bell so you're notified each time I upload a new video. And thank you for watching, guys.